Our guest today is Schill Grounds Management out of Cleveland, Ohio. Jerry Schill runs a 31 branch company. You're going to be very inspired by this podcast because he's going to share with you the ahas he's made along the way. Whether you're $1 million, residential focused, it doesn't matter. He's got some great business lessons for you, very inspiring. And he's the host of our Summer Growth Summit, August 19th through the 21st this coming year. And our early bird discount runs just through April 24th. So go to the show notes or go to my website if you want to register for that Summer Growth Summit. I have Jerry on, short and sweet. I've asked him to share with everyone here kind of the lessons he's made on his journey along the way. He's got some surprises for us. We have some fun here. And he tells us also what he's most excited to show off once we come visit him this summer. Short, sweet, inspiring. Here we go. Welcome to the Ultimate Landscape CEO. We have as our guest, Jerry Schill. Welcome, Jerry.
Hey, Jeffrey. How you doing?
And so I was going to introduce you, but you've got a lot going on in your resume. Could you introduce yourself to the audience here?
Yeah, Jerry Schill, founder of Schill Grounds Management. Currently the CEO, and we founded our business like most other companies in Cleveland just over 30 years ago. Started out doing a little bit of everything for everybody, and over the years continued to kind of refine our business model. And in 2012, made the conscious decision to shift gears and go strictly commercial maintenance, snow, and enhancements. And since that time, we've seen significant growth and expansion into other markets, and couldn't be happier about the decision we made, and really happy and optimistic about the future.
So that was 15, let's see, 13 years ago?
13 years ago.
And then you took on a finance partner. How long ago was that?
4 years ago.
4 years. Okay.
Yep. Partnered. As we started thinking about expanding, we went from one location to 3.5 locations in the Cleveland market. And for people that don't understand the geography in Ohio, we're in Cleveland, so we're up on the lake. So we don't really have a northern market. So when we got to a certain size in the Cleveland market, it became necessary to start thinking about expanding outside of that market. And in doing so, realized that it made sense for us to start looking for an institutional partner to kind of help us with our expansion efforts.
So you had 3.5 branches on your own. And how many do you have now?
31.
31. That's like 3.5 sort of transposed there. 31. That's a lot to keep track of.
It is. It's funny because people ask me questions all the time about it, and it's really just having 31 of the same original Schills that we had in Cleveland starting out. And we have the same challenges and the same successes that we always did. It's just at scale now. So, just like everything else in life, we triage where we need to be and where we need to go and who needs the most help, and make sure that we're providing the right resources and the level of support to those locations in those regions. And while we continue to continuously improve the business.
So when I have 4 siblings, so 5 kids. And my dad said somewhere around kid 4, things got actually easier. I don't know if I buy that, but it's a great story. When did it ever get easier for you after so many branches?
Maybe in some regards it has. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and we've always pushed. It's never been enough. We have an incredibly bright and amazing and resilient team that we've been able to both grow organically and through acquisitions. And we've been able to do some incredible things. And one of the things that I think we'll talk about a little bit later was, what are some of the lessons? And I would say the biggest lesson is you can't do it alone. You don't get to this point in your career. And I just feel truly blessed and humbled to kind of be where we're at today. And none of it would be possible without the team that we've been able to build around us. I know we've joked before, I'm the best 85% guy on the planet. I live in the clouds. So the importance of finding the right people and putting them in the right seats for Schill has been critically important and a major part in our efforts to kind of grow and scale the business like we have over the last several years.
I was on the phone with Jono, what's his title, by the way?
Vice President of Operations.
So he's in charge of all the branches, right?
He's where the rubber meets the road. He is literally in charge of operations on a day-to-day level.
And he's always reminding me that I interviewed him for his first landscape job at Grasscore. I don't know how many, what was that, 10 years ago, maybe? Because he's out of the restaurant industry and he's got some good systems. I'm going to have him on a podcast. He really, he's got some great systems that I'm sure help you integrate your acquisitions because they're just so clear and straightforward.
Yeah, I think one of the differentiating factors in our organization, maybe compared to some of the other consolidators out there, is we've remained very entrepreneurial, very operationally focused.
Yeah.
We were in the branches every single day talking to people, whether we're physically there or not, and we're focusing on real world problems. I mean, the people, profits, processes, all of those things that have existed and for the last 32 years, and whether it was one location or now 31 locations. We also have a really smart group of leaders in the organization that can help us solve some of our challenges, whether they be financial or through human capital, payroll. I mean, you name it, ARAP.
Yeah.
But really smart folks that can help us kind of remove barriers and obstacles to the growth of these locations. But at the end of the day, our philosophy is still boots on the ground. I mean, this is as pure as it gets. There's no ivory towers here. We're going to work every single day, really focused on continuous improvement in every
Yeah.
aspect of everything we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been to your corporate office. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's not huge either. It's,
Smaller the better.
the smaller the better. So, uh, I, I do have a question for you, which is, what you've learned through this journey, but, you mentioned that Chill is entrepreneurial, and I'm sure you buy some companies that are not. I mean, in fact, I know a lot of the inside scoop, but I'll leave it up to you to say what you want to on this. But I'm sure you buy some companies that just aren't as entrepreneurial, as run as fast, don't break as many things as Shill does. Uh, how do you guys overcome that challenge?
I think we take a very thoughtful approach to integration. Look, I mean, for those who we've partnered with over the last handful of years, people that have sold their businesses and wanted to walk alongside of us, it's a big, very personal decision. And it's not a decision that's made lightly. And what we have found is we've solved for a variety of owners, kind of objectives. Some folks are looking to retire. They've kind of reached that age. Some people are looking at an exit strategy or a continuity plan for their team, just in case. And then some people kind of hit their capacity, whether it's capital constraints or it's intellectual bandwidth, et cetera, et cetera. So we've just really adapted to all those unique situations, and we really seek to understand what's going on in a business and what the owner's objectives are before we enter into these partnerships. What does the staff look like? What's the market look like? What do the customers look like? So we really put a plan together around that. One size does not fit all. I think we've seen that in our industry, specifically over the last handful of years, is that there are nuances in all these different markets. And some of the partners that we partners with, we run a house of brand strategy. So we maintain a lot of the identity of our partners in their markets. They build tons of brand loyalty and brand equity, and the logo and the brand mean things to our teams and our clients and the communities that we're serving. So we really spend a lot of time talking through what the next chapter looks like. Obviously, our goal is to come in there and supercharge these businesses, and it's really make the investments where it makes sense. And that's typically business development and talent acquisition. If you go in there and you start selling work, you got to be able to staff it, and you got to be able to produce good results, or you've got retention issues and so on and so forth. So really it's about a thoughtful integration and really seeking to understand what the market and the business needs in terms of what we can provide at the field support level, so these businesses can be successful, because we do not micromanage these businesses on a day-to-day. We leverage technology and a meeting cadence to handle that. And that's truly where Jono is exceptional in everything he does. He has the ability to both think high level and get down in the weeds operationally where he needs to, because he's been there, done it, and understands everything. Nobody's going to pull the wool over his eyes.
Yeah, I forgot. He reminded me that he had started up 3 restaurants, or at least 2 restaurants, as a chef. I forgot that he was a chef. When you come out of the restaurant industry, that's got to be tougher than landscape. So if you
There's a lot
can,
of similarities, right? You've got, a workforce that's, blue collar, and it's sometimes difficult to not just recruit, but even retain. And, at the same time, you're trying to deliver this extraordinary experience to your guest or your, maintenance customers, whoever it is. So
yeah,
there's a lot of moving parts, and he's done a really good job. One, he brings an incredible amount of energy. Jono. I mean, he has got enough energy for 3 people. And again, he's very relatable and can truly kind of show the right mix of empathy and accountability at the same time. So people want to follow him, which has been
yeah.
great.
Oh, I bet they do. So you've learned a lot from this journey, and I'm sure you're going to share a lot with us when we come visit you for our Summer Growth Summit. So without giving away all the fun things you're going to say there, share a couple things that stick out for you on this journey of yours.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it before. You can't get there alone. You can't get there by yourself. And I start thinking about our introduction into the business. We were fortunate that a local school teacher kind of gave us a little bit of runway to kind of fill a void in our summer schedules. And, my brother and I really took to it and just loved both the entrepreneurial, like the sales, and then also the creative side of it. The ability to kind of go in and start from scratch and walk away with something special at the end of the day. But, we learned early on, and I think a lot of it has to do with our life experiences. We were both educated, went to school, had nothing to do with landscaping, but definitely were intrigued by the business side of things. And we learned early on to really start to seek out mentors and peers and other people that are just really willing to share kind of their journey with you, and really take the time to listen to them. And my brother and I were wired very much the same back in the day. We were just gung ho. We just, we thought about this all the time. It was like we would set a goal, we would go hit it, and then we would set another goal and we would go hit it. And it was always about this incremental change, of these incremental wins. We just always focus on stacking things up. And I think one of the other important things was when we sought out advice or feedback from people, right? We did something with it. I truly believe, after the last 32 years, looking back at all the people that have kind of helped us along the way on our journey, whether it's consultants or other industry peers or folks that were in our peer groups. I've been a 12 or 13-year Vistage member. They have really all been influential and really helped us level up over the years, and gave us the courage and kind of the feedback and the candor for us to make decisions along the way and kind of pivot when we needed to kind of optimize the business. And
Yeah,
it's been truly a blessing to kind of have these folks, but it also, I'm glad we had the courage to kind of go out and seek wisdom and advice and humble ourselves to say, we don't understand this.
yeah.
Who does? And then go listen to them, really seek to understand what they're trying to tell us, and then figure out who best to help us implement the strategies.
I think that's really important, what you're saying. I'll talk to some contractors, pick a size, or at 4 million or something. And they'll be like, well, I'm not ready to work with you, Jeff, because there's still a lot that I'm in the middle of figuring out that I know I can do myself. And now, on the one hand, I have a business, I want to bring in more clients, but everything we do is really with our clients' best interest in mind. At our consulting firm, that is our number one mantra. What's in the client's best interest? And I think to myself, why would you not get some help? Even if, of course, you're smart enough to figure things out on your own, but why would you go it alone on purpose? I just think I don't know, was that pride? Was that ever your thought process? Hey, we're just going to go this alone.
Um, I don't know if it was pride. I think everybody has their own objectives and their own goals. Yeah, I don't know if it was just the way we were brought up, nurture versus nature, but we were very driven
Yeah.
and we were all athletes. Maybe that has a lot to do with it. And, and there's only one thing you do, and that's win. And so we would figure out what a win looked like for us, and we would just go after it. We first started out, we were using the Senior Council of Retired Executives in downtown Cleveland, a bunch
So,
of
but
retired.
you always brought in help. I'm just sort of surprised when I meet someone, they're like, no, I'm not ready for help yet.
Well, I
What,
also
when it?
it depends on people's objectives too. Like we weren't
Yeah.
interested in just being the biggest or the best landscape contractor in town. Like we
Yeah.
wanted to be the best entrepreneurs in our market,
Yeah.
regardless of the service or the product that we were delivering. And we were just always students of the game. Like we just loved to learn and figure out how to tweak what we were doing so we can continue to grow.
It kind of occurred to me while you're talking that it was you and your brother. And uh, we work with a lot of partnerships, two brothers, brother and a sister, sometimes two generations. There are a lot of partnerships in this industry, and you're no different.
Yeah.
So,
I
so
think
we'll,
it's there are pros and cons to all of it. Now, my brother and I, who originally founded the company, are not partners anymore. He runs a very successful high-end landscape design build firm here in Cleveland called Green
Mhm.
Impressions. They do crazy cool stuff. And that was really what he was passionate about. And I was really passionate about continuing to grow the maintenance division. So we went our separate ways in 2012. And I think are both happier as a result of it. But again, it's just part of the journey. But
But you have another brother in your business.
our brother Jim is in the business with me today. Yeah. And is responsible for helping us grow the maintenance side of the business as it is today.
Yeah. So what? Give us another learning point on your from your journey here.
Yeah, set big goals. Um, there's a ton of quotes out there and a ton of things you can say that we've all heard before. But really, if you want to achieve big things, you got to set big goals. I mean goals that really make you uncomfortable. And even along our journey over the last 30 years, there are times where, we've come up with an idea or, enhanced the vision and the direction we wanted to go with the company where people were genuinely nervous or scared or uncomfortable with the direction that we were, deciding to take the business. And, but at the end of the day, if you set small goals, you're going to achieve small things. I mean, the wins are great. But along the way, you got to be willing to kind of take the chance, set the vision, set the direction. John was always talking about vision casting, which is important. Like you have to sell it to your internal stakeholders as much as you do your external stakeholders. But, it started out where, we hoped and set goals that we had enough money to rent a U-Haul truck and a trailer for $20 until it turned into buying a couple old used pieces of junk from an old contractor in the market. To today we've got, 800 or 900 vehicles on the road. But, moving out of my garage into a storage locker into, the first property we've owned. And now we've got 31 locations, but we always had goals. They weren't always, to be as the size that we are today, but we've always been very goal oriented and
Mm.
driven. And I believe we've always done a pretty good job of sharing that vision and kind of giving people the latitude they need, the tools they need to be successful, and then really just getting the hell out of their way.
I think it's very dangerous when you hit your goals and you don't have new goals. And so hitting easier goals maybe makes it easier to fall into that trap. But either way, um, I think human beings do not do well when they've stalled out hitting their goals without the next set of goals in mind. I think in general, now maybe that's true for only driven people, but it's pretty clear that you've avoided that trap. Did you ever fall into it where you guys coasted a little bit and you got a little lost in that coasting?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's easy to start drinking your own Kool-Aid. It's probably happened more than once along the journey. And I do think it's okay to stop and smell the roses every now and again. Like I'm not good at it. It's just my personality and my DNA, the way I'm wired.
Mm.
And, I've literally had folks on our team to say like, good Lord, we just did what we set out to do. Like, can't we take a break? And it's like, we're already rolling out the next plan, next initiative or goal, whatever that may have been. And I think I truly do care about every single employee that works for us. It's a humbling experience to get to 1,700 people that depend on you every day to
Mhm.
lead and guide and take them to the path that they hope to get on, or that the goals they hope to achieve personally. But it is a massive responsibility to not just say we want to create opportunities, but to actually go out every single day and work to do it. And our team deserves that. And it's not about building a bigger organization, which I think naturally occurs when you're doing the right things and you're delivering a great product, you're paying attention to your employees, and living out those values in the community. Those things naturally start to happen for your team. And that's probably the most impressive thing that I've seen, and probably one of the most rewarding things that I've been a part of over the last several years, is the number of people that we've been able to take from, a frontline worker position or production level role, and, help them grow into being a manager, running a branch or a region over time. So that's super rewarding. And truthfully, our job is to replace ourselves. And one of my initial reasons for wanting to do this was I had 4 children that weren't involved in the business and were independently successful and happy doing their own things. And I knew at some point, at being in my mid-50s, I needed to figure out a way to transition this business, and this was part of it. And folks like the Jonos and the Aarons and several other people in our organization, they could eventually be running this organization, in the next handful of years or so. So I thought it was really important to kind of be very calculated and very intentional about going out and setting this business up to be successful long after I'm gone.
Do you have one other lesson you want to share?
Yeah, I think entrepreneurs are just naturally wired different. Um, I joke about it all the time, but I believe it's true. We are just literally unemployable in most cases. But I think if you're really serious about growing your business, whatever that means to you personally, is you need to learn to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Um, I think you need to set realistic expectations. I think you need to be patient, but most of all, you need to stay disciplined, right? And stay on the course, and then just be relentless, about the pursuit of going after your goals. And it's not always easy. There are going to be people that want to, your detractors that want to tell you to stop and you need to go backwards. And there are going to be people that are way too optimistic about what's going to happen. But I think just staying true to who you are and sticking to the plan, being willing and humble enough to kind of make plans or pivots along the way in the journey is important. But you just have to have this dogged determination to go out and get it. And I think it's really important to understand why you're doing what you're doing. To me, it was always, early on, it was probably more egoic, wanting to be bigger, make more money, attend things and be present and have people know you. But it truly over the last 20 plus years has really been about creating something special.
Mhm.
And when you do that, everybody gets to win and succeed. And, as a leader, it's our responsibility and we have an obligation to make sure that, we're kind of setting the vision and the direction and just giving people the tools to go out and do it. And a lot of times it's not easy. And I joke all the time, like the difference between somebody running $1 billion company and someone running a $10 million company is the amount of crap that they're willing to put up. In a lot of cases, it's there's a lot of things coming at you, a lot of priorities, a lot of obligations. It's just a lot to take in sometimes. And you have to remember why you started doing these things to begin with. And hopefully that's enough to carry you through the day.
Do you think you make decisions faster now than you used to? Or do you just have more decisions to make?
There's a lot that comes at you. Um, the locations, the revenue size, the compliance, and all the regulations and the HR and all the things that, you deal with on a day-to-day basis. With one location, it's times 31. We're pretty fortunate. We got a couple other ones getting ready to close, so we'll have a few more locations. But I would say there are some things that some decisions I make slower and I need to think about and seek out guidance and wisdom and counsel on because they're more impactful and meaningful. And maybe there's more risk in the decision. And then there are other things that I make extremely fast. And then there are a lot of things that come to me that I make other people make the decisions on
Mm.
because we can't empower people if we don't let them make mistakes.
How
I
many
would rather somebody
decisions?
make a bad decision than make no decision.
Yeah, yeah. How many decisions a day do you make? I know, kind of, sort of a conceptual question, but any thought on how to answer that?
I don't. We've talked about this in Vistage before. I know it's thousands of decisions you make, these micro decisions you make every day, but
Yeah, and I don't really mean the
I
micro, but
I've
I don't know
gotten
what I mean.
we have gotten to a point now where if things get to me, it's typically something that requires my involvement, but a lot of the decisions operationally day to day that get made at the regional model. I don't believe in a corporate model. I do believe in a regional concept where you have regional managers and controllers and HR and sales and talent kind of all making decisions. There's clearly an authority matrix in place on what they can and can't do, but they're the entrepreneurs, right? They are the ones running these businesses day to day in the regions. If something big enough happens in that region where it's got to come up to us, we'll take the time, call a timeout and help make the decision, that's best for the business or the region at that point. But we really encourage a lot of people to make a lot of the day-to-day decisions that are taking place.
First off, I really appreciate you volunteering and your company volunteering to be the host of our eighth annual Summer Growth Summit. And I'm really excited. And the more I get to know you guys, the more excited I get that, whether someone who runs a residential company or a commercial or 1 million or 20 million, they are all going to learn from you. I mean, it's like if you hadn't said what size company you are and we just listened to you talk for half an hour, you'd be like, yeah, that's applicable to me. I mean, it's all very applicable. Do you read that the same way?
Yeah, so I'm a lifelong learner. I still network with people, whether they're one location, $3 million firm. I've got a good buddy in Michigan I network with all the time, and he doesn't run as big a business as we do, but he has just incredible perspective and this empathetic kind of leadership style that helps me when I want to lose my mind about something. I can call him and lean on him, right? And then I can help him with a P&L or kind of our playbook, if you will. But I think those relationships exist everywhere, and I don't believe that I don't believe that the service or product you're offering or the size of your business has anything to do with whether or not you come participate in events like this. I think in order to level up, you need to surround yourself and be around other people that have been there and done it, because they just naturally will help you elevate your game. And I think that perspective and being able to walk in and see the way I do it or any of these other companies around the country do what they do
Mm.
is a tremendous wealth of knowledge in the ability to kind of take one nugget or two nuggets back to your business and kind of implement them. Again, I'm a Vistage guy. I've said it a few times. It's industry agnostic. Like it doesn't matter what it is. We all have
Yeah.
full profit, process, and scaling challenges that we work with day to day. The product really doesn't matter to me. So again, I'm a serial networker. I hope we get a ton of people that want to show up here and be part of the journey. I will tell you that we're a little bit not just humbled, but a little bit excited and nervous about it at the same time. I think it's always great to be able to open the doors. And truthfully, the number one reason that I wanted to do it, one, is to showcase our amazing team and all the great things that we've done and really use it as an opportunity to pay it forward. And we're an open book. That. I mean, there isn't a question you can't ask us and we wouldn't answer because at some point somebody taught us, the same principles and the same process, and we managed to put our own little twist and, refinement and optimization on them over the years to kind of work for us.
So my final question for you is, you're sort of answering it now, but it's what are you most excited to show off when we come visit you?
Our team, I really am. I think it's easy to get sucked into the day to day and really get focused on a lot of the problems and the issues that pop up. So the ability to kind of take a lot of these folks, take them out of their day to day element, and you know put them out in front of a bunch some of the country's best operators out there, and be able to provide some feedback and support, and let them really see what they've been able to accomplish and how incredible that and how important they've been in that journey, I think is really the most fun for me. Um, I read it this morning. It was pretty interesting. It was in, I don't know if you know Sam Gemble, but he writes a newsletter every week, and we're in a devotional group and all these other things. But the quote by Dan Martell, I thought it was pretty slick. And it said, "Your business is nothing more than a collection of challenges that we are all trying to solve." So it kind of goes back to the question you had before about whether you're residential, design, build, bid build, commercial landscaping. As entrepreneurs, we're all just trying to solve, right, for the perfect business plan, the perfect business model. And I hope people can come here and truly walk away with a couple of nuggets or a couple of morsels that they can go back and implement in their own business. And long term, if they need some help with those and a little bit of refinement, we're an open book. We always have been, always will be, because there were people that came before us that were humble enough to do the same thing for us.
Gary, I'm really looking forward to this, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to sort of give a little taste of what people will get. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, likewise. Appreciate you and everything you do for the industry.